If I'm juggling and I drop a ball, then what, Felix?
I mean, try again.
Absolutely. Right? So like you don't let that failure stop you.
Mm-hmm.
So if your dad needs to figure out like why he wants his son to be so successful. Like, does he derive personal pride and ego from your successes? Because that happens a lot with parents. And then the second thing is, why can't he accept your success for what it is? Why does it have to look like his success?
Okay. That's it. Then you have it.
Then I have what?
Um, I feel like that question is the right one,
Yeah,
or the most valid one out of all of them.
exactly. And that
Yeah.
comes from a conversation with him. And the cool thing is that once you can have that conversation with him and you can get the answer to that question, then you're no longer down here because what put you down here is like his impression of what's valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're back up here and then you're $1,000 bike riding $1,000 bike. Like that's what you are. You're not like a broken chain. Because if we
Okay.
look at your actual performance, we see the performance of $1,000 bike, not the performance of a broken chain. And
Mm-hmm.
that you've demonstrated time and time and time again by schooling noobs in trampoline, schooling noobs in skiing, schooling noobs right and left and center. Right? You're competing with like your dad sends you in to compete with kids with multi-$1,000 bikes and you've got a broken chain. You're fucking winning a race and you have to stop and pull over and reattach a chain.
Yeah. Yeah. In those moments, I felt like um I was upset that I wouldn't get the results, but I was very much like self rewarded.
Yep.
I had a good mental loop because yeah, it sucks. I don't get on the podium, but at the same time, I was like, dude, if I had a bike as good as theirs, I know like that doesn't come from like overvaluing my value. Like I would have fucked this guy over. I
Yeah.
would have rolled him,
Uh,
right? And that thought was enough.
yeah. I'm with you. I think, yeah.
Okay.
Right. So, but the problem here is that you don't think that way about yourself now. Right. You
Yeah,
think the
probably not.
opposite.
Probably not. Yeah, exactly. Makes
Right.
sense.
So like I think and then we kind of ask a little bit about won't I become not successful? No, absolutely not. Because that is actually when you're your truest self. It's when you don't derive value from an external thing. Do you see that? In that
Yeah.
moment, you're not deriving value from being on stage. You're deriving value from a true sense of what you're putting in and what you're capable of.
Mhm.
Then you don't care about the audience. And can you be successful? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thoughts, questions?
No, this all makes sense. Um, is it overall unhealthy, um, in the grand scheme of things, like lifestyle to to let's say not care about what your parents think, or like build yourself in an environment where um you get like a combined other things that make up for that, or make up for their value or their
So I think the
how
healthiest thing is to it's not to not care. It's to recognize what part of my parents' value of me is fair and what part is unfair.
okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
their valuation of you is not perfect.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Where um, growing up, you can't really tell, since they're your parents, they're above you, so they know shit. But sometimes they do things, um, just like we do, like I do now. Like we're human, right? That are wrong, but I still see it as right because I don't know any better. So like
Yep.
they play their cards perfectly, and that's how they really feel about me. But maybe that's how they feel about themselves or some external other source, right? And then I feel like you kind of build like just unhealthy conclusions.
Absolutely. Right. So I think the general strategy, like, so when I say you have to see what's fair and unfair, like you said, you think that they're perfect when you're a child, and they're certain. not perfect. And we don't blame them for that, right? Because they
Mhm.
also, like, they're not perfect. So how can you expect perfection from them? So I think the strategy, Felix, is damage control, not perfection.
Okay.
It's not being perfect. It's in recognizing, like, so the way forward is to have conversations with them where then you can, through conversation with them, like, recognize, okay, what is my dad saying that's fair and what is he saying that's unfair? And then
Okay.
once you recognize that it's unfair, you let it go,
Fine. That's good.
right? It's like that shit's on him. Like, if he's not happy with me having a broken chain bike and not winning first place, like, that's an unreasonable expectation. And if he doesn't want to be proud of me for that, then so be it. I'm going to make
Okay.
my case about why he should be proud of me,
Yeah.
right? I need to
That's
explain to
good.
him, and then that gives him the opportunity to also grow, because you're not the only one that needs to do growing in this relationship. And it's kind of like a continual process, in the same way that you, like, wake up the next day and you try to be better. That's what both of you guys need to do for your relationship. And then you'll end up hopefully both being, like, happy and accepting and loving each other. And
Sure.
you know, he'll be proud of you and you'll know that he's genuinely proud of you. And he can accept that you aren't him, right? You're not his perfect dream of himself. You're you. And you have your own shit that you care about and your own values. And there are parts of you there are parts of him that live within you, but there are also parts of your mom. There are parts of you that are a little bit more chill. There are parts of you that say that I'm going to stop skiing and, like, snowboard because it's fun. And I'm still going to do a really good job, but it's going to be less intense.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that he needs to judge you for who you are, not who he wants you to be. And even in that, you may fall short in some ways. He may say, okay, Felix, I agree with you that, you know, you've been successful and I'm proud of you, but I still think XYZ.
Yeah.
And then for you to say, okay, Dad, that's fair or that isn't fair. And then you guys come to an accord. And that's a healthy relationship.